In this video, I'm going to show you how to use some defined names or cells that you gave names to in formulas. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and add some things in this purchase order that you see on the right hand side, and we're going to pull the data from the invoice data on the left. But before we actually start using the defined names, I just want to show you what you guys would normally do if you didn't know how to use defined names. So for example, on the date, you would normally press the equal sign and then come over here to the invoice area and select the cell that contains the date at this point. Now, one of the things I want you to notice, because we've already defined this cell B3 as an invoice date, you're going to see it show up in the formula itself. Okay, we'll go ahead and come over here to G9, and to pull the subscriber's name, we'll press the equal sign, and then we'll come over and select the subscriber's name. Now again, if you had not named the cell subscriber, it would have had cell B4 as the cell address. And we'll go ahead and press the equal sign, and we'll come over here and select the address. Go ahead and click on it. There we go. And then press the equal sign, and we'll go ahead and select the city, state, and zip. Now, another way that you can do this is you can go ahead and just press the equal sign and start typing what you want over there as far as the range name. So if you want the phone number, you notice I start to type phone. Look at the icon next to phone. You can tell it's not a function because of the icon. Now, if you're going to pull it from the auto list, don't press the enter key, because if you do, that's what you're going to get is a no name. It doesn't identify it. What you have to do is, when you see it show up on the list, is you have to press the tab key once it's highlighted, and then press the enter key to pull that information over. So this is how we're going to populate our purchase order area. Now let's go ahead and let's move on to the ticket price. Let's see, we've got all the information pulled from the invoice data over here, and we've got the phone and everything. So now we're going to go ahead and work on the ticket price area. So we're going to go ahead and go over to, let's see, let's go ahead and put this over here in I-14. And I'm going to go ahead and press the equal sign. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead, let's see, we want ticket quantity. We're going to go ahead and type, if you type B8, it pulls it from the invoice, or let's go ahead and press the delete key, and we'll just press the equal and start typing ticket. And as soon as you see the cell name show up, press the tab key and then press enter at that point. So now you have the ticket price, or I'm sorry, the ticket quantity. All right, let's see what else we need to fill in here. We'll go to I-15, and this is going to be the series. So equals, we'll start typing series. Now when you see it on the list, you can just press the arrow down key. Again, note the difference between the icons next to the functions and the icon next to the defined names in your worksheet or workbook. Then I'm going to press the tab key to finish it out, and then the enter key to input it. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and go to the location. We're going to go ahead and type equal, and at this point, let's see, this would be location, LO, there it is, tab to finish it out, and then enter to pull the data from that particular cell. So very quick and easy to do this. So as you start entering the data over here in column B, then your order over here on the right hand side will automatically start populating, because all of these cells are actually formulas at this point. So very, very easy to use it in simple cells. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to J18 here, which is the ticket cost. And this is where I'm going to show you how to use some functions that you're already familiar with. But instead of selecting cells or a range of cells for the various arguments, we're going to use range names. So let me explain what we're going to do for the ticket price. On the ticket price in J18, what we want to do is we need to first of all decide what type of ticket price we're going to be using. So we need to know, one, what the series is. So if you look over here at the ticket price table, we'll have to come up with the function that will first go to this first column and match the series that the customer has indicated with the first column. And we also need to identify the location, whether they're going to be in the orchestra area or the balcony, and then that will determine which one of these prices. So the first thing you should think of is, well, I've got some conditions that I need to see if they're there. So you know you're going to be using an if function. If they are choosing Series A and Orchestra, then use this value. If they're using Series B and Balcony, then use this cell here. You know what? We've got a lot of if functions here we would have to do. Boy, we would have, gosh, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if functions. And you really, once you get past 3, that's when you need to really think, should I set up some kind of a table that I can use either VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP? So that's why we have this here on the sheet here. Because instead of having 5 nested if functions for 6 conditions that we're testing for, because it's always one less than the total number of conditions, we're gonna go ahead and use the VLOOKUP table with it. And the other thing we'd have to do would have to be, you know, this and that, this and that. So there's so much to it. So here we go. Let's go ahead. Let me get us back over here. We're going to go to J18, and we're going to go ahead and start our if function. So from the Formulas tab, we're going to go to Logical If. All right. So now we have our if function dialog box. So the first thing we're going to look for is if the location is equal to orchestra. All right. So the first thing I need to do is I need to come over to location. Notice it doesn't use the cell address because we named the cell location, so the name is going to show up in your formula or function, not the cell address. So if it's equal to orchestra, and notice that I'm having to put the label in quotes, then at this point we're going to go ahead and go to the true argument. Now this is where the VLOOKUP is going to come in. Now what I would suggest you do at any point in time, if you're ever going through some instructions in a book and they have you type all of this in, don't. That's just where so many errors take place. What I'm going to do is show you how to create a nested function in a function and still maintain the ability to use the dialog boxes to guide you through. So now we're in the true argument, and what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to come over here to my name box. I'm going to click on my arrow down. Now if I don't see the function that I want to use, then I would go to more functions, but I do see the function VLOOKUP. So I'm going to go ahead and go to VLOOKUP, and I want you to notice 2 things happened. First of all, my functions dialog box changed to the VLOOKUP arguments, which will help me. Second, if you look in the formula bar, you can see that it nested the VLOOKUP function as the second argument for the if function. All right. So now at this point, what am I trying to look up here? Well, what we're going to do, we're going to look up, see the lookup value is going to be the series. And notice again, because I clicked on the cell that contains the series I wanted to look up. Let me come back over there again. I clicked on the cells that I wanted to look up. It's using the range name rather than the cell address. Now the table array, this is going to be the ticket price. Okay, so at this point I can do that, and it's changed it to the range name ticket price. And now the column index, and this is where you have to type this in. This is where you're saying, okay, which column are you going to go to, 2 or 3, and it's going to be column 2. All right, so then we're going to go to the range lookup, and we're going to key in false because it has to be an exact match. Now at this point, this is only going to look up the location for orchestra, and then it's going to go to the second column because obviously in my VLOOKUP table the second column represents the orchestra. But I need to also say, hey, it could be balcony, so I need to do another VLOOKUP here. All right, so if I need to go back to the if function, which is the parent function, the VLOOKUP is the nested function, here's how you do it. Do not click on OK. If you do, you're starting over. You want to take your mouse pointer and click on the word if in the formula bar. By doing that, it will now display the if function dialog box showing the nested function VLOOKUP populating your true argument. Let's go ahead and go to the false argument, and this is going to be a second nested function, and we're going to come over to the name box and choose VLOOKUP. And again, now my function dialog box has changed to display the arguments for the VLOOKUP. So the lookup value that I'm going to be looking up again is in the series. The table is going to be my ticket prices. The column I'm going to go to at this point will be column 3, because remember the VLOOKUP, the first one, is for if the condition is true, and the condition is if the location is orchestra, we want to go to the second column. If that condition is false, then the only other choice is to go to the third column. So we're going to go ahead and key in 3, and we're also going to make sure that it is an exact match, so we're going to type in false. Now we're actually done with this entire function. The if function contains the 3 arguments, so we'll come back up here and click on the if function in the formula bar. So you can see that we have the logical test, which is see if the cell that is named location is equal to orchestra, and if that is true, we have a nested VLOOKUP function that will go to the cell series, which is where we have the letter C, and it will look in the VLOOKUP table that we named ticket prices. Once it finds C, then it will go to the second column, and that's where it will pull the number from. But if the condition location equals orchestra is false, that means then the only other thing it could be is balcony. So in the false argument, it's going to again use the VLOOKUP function. It's going to go to the cell that we named series, which in this case has the letter C. And then it's going to go to the ticket prices table, and it's going to find the letter C in the first column, but now it's going to go to the third column, which represents the prices for balcony, and that's the value that will be displayed. So at this point we can click OK, and you can see that it is actually a false condition, so the location does not equal orchestra, it equals balcony. Therefore, it's going to use the false argument of the if function, and it's going to use the 150. Very, very easy to do at this point. So you can see in our formula bar, let me come back up here and click on the formula bar. The logical test is to see if the location, which is the cell that we named location, and that's just B10, does it contain the word orchestra. If it does, then it's going to come down here to our VLOOKUP table. Or actually, I take it back. It's going to go to the series first, the cell which is B9 that has the letter C in it. Then it's going to go to the VLOOKUP table that we named ticket prices, find the letter C in the first column, and then it's going to go to the second column, and that's the number it's going to use, whatever's in that cell. But if this condition is false, then it's going to come over to the false argument of the if function and do the same thing over again. It's going to go to the cell that we named series, and it's going to look it up in the ticket prices table, but now it's going to go to the third column, and that's where it's going to pull the number from. Very, very easy to do. I know it sounds complicated, but it would be no different than you having to manually do this and find the numbers and match it up in the table. And that's actually what you're doing with the if function. Let's go ahead and go to the handling prices now at this point. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and do the handling ticket, or the handling price. And this one here, let me just come back over here. This is just going to be whatever is in our invoice constants down below. Alright, so let me go ahead and press the equal sign, and we'll type handling cost. There it is. Let me press the equal sign, and see, this will be the decal. So this is going to be a formula. So this one is going to be going, come back over here. We want to take the number of decals. I don't think we named that, did we? We did not. Oh, you know what? That was parking decals. Let's try it again. That's the hard part. There it is. Parking fee. Give it one more shot here. My mouse is moving all over the place. Let's try it again. Okay, so here we go. Equal. And we're going to go parking fee times. And then this is going to be, actually what we need to do is we want to get up here to this cell, and that's the number of parking decals. So I can just click on it if I forgot the name of the range and press the enter key. And then we have donation, and this is going to be donation. Alright, there we go. Now let's go ahead and just do the total. And at this point, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and add these up. So I'm just going to go to the Home tab, use the auto sum, and then there we go. And then that's the total prices. So we have the ticket price. Now here's the problem with this. I've got the ticket price, which is 150, but remember they ordered 4 tickets. So I've got to do something else to this function that I use, because all it really did was just pull what the price is per ticket. So I'm going to go ahead and press the, well actually we'll just come up here and make it easier. We're going to come up to the formula bar, And we're going to go ahead and finish this out, because really this if function is just telling us what, pulling the price per ticket. Now I have to multiply it by the ticket quantity. And that's where at this point you can come over here and click on the ticket quantity. Notice in the formula bar I didn't type B8. I didn't even type ticket quantity. I just went and clicked on the cell and press the enter key. Now that makes much more sense. So you've got to watch out for this. Always double check your work, triple check your work if need be. So now we have all the functions and the rest of this formula completed. And if you look in the formula bar, the first part of this formula really is using that entire if function to decide what is going to be the price per ticket. Let me go ahead and close that. And then the second part is to finish that out by then taking whatever is pulled from the table for the price per ticket and multiplying it by the ticket quantity. And that is just represented here in cell B8. Now, I do want you to note if you click on the name button, I could have clicked on the name box drop-down menu and selected the name from there as well. And that's how you can use the names in formulas. Now, the last thing I'm going to do here is I want to go ahead and pull some things over. So what we're going to do is we've entered all the remaining formulas using the function names. And what I'd like to do at this point is I want to go ahead and come down to the bottom here to the transfer area. Now, in the transfer area, what we're going to do is I want to pull some of this information from this purchase order down in the transfer area. And eventually I want to populate it over here. So I need the customer's name, the day, the number of tickets, the ticket amount, and then the total amount. So I'm just going to go ahead and press the equal. And I'm going to go ahead and get the subscriber's name. And again, you can just click on the cell and then press the enter key. And then let me double check. I think it was the date. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do the date. Now, we don't want to do that here. So at this point, what I would suggest is you come up here. You don't see it listed here. Just come up and click on the invoice date. And then the next one, let's see, we needed the total number of tickets. All right. So then we're going to go ahead. And at this point, you can come to formulas. We'll just go ahead and do this. Use in formulas, and then we'll choose, let's see, what would I say that one was? Number of tickets. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. I'm not, so we'll go ahead and come over here and click on the ticket quantity. Sometimes I forget what I call them as well. And then we've got, let's see, the last two, ticket amount and total amount. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and press the equal sign, and the ticket amount, we'll go ahead and just click on this cell for the ticket cost, and then the total amount equal, and we'll come over here, and that way we can populate this for the transfer area, and then eventually we'll get it over here on the ticket price at this point. So that's how you can go ahead and use these range names in your cell addresses.